All right, here's a new thing I'm trying out, and that is recalling directly after class. I've created different or tested different forms of this throughout my experience in school, starting with notebooks, writing down notebooks or notes after class directly in a journal. I've tried using AI to talk while I'm on the phone. That was when I was really busy. Use voice chat while I'm driving to my next class or in between things, just in commute, to squeeze out efficiency and productivity out of commute times. But from my understanding, recalling directly after testing, that is directly after, it leads to more retention, more learning, that is long term. And I'm sitting in my parking lot of my school, and just people are walking all around. So this is a new experience for me. I used to be really nervous to even create YouTube videos within my own house if there are other people in the house, and now I've gotten pretty comfortable, made hundreds of videos. So maybe this is the next step, is just I'm not really nervous at all right now. I don't really care. So let's get the value out. What did we learn today in the first computer science course? I think the main takeaways are really the course objectives, really the high level big picture of what computer science is, especially programming, that is, and kind of the pedagogy, the instructional method that's unique to this class that I think is really great. I've read about it in Make It Stick recently. It's an evidence-based learning technique. They've seemed to develop it over many years and with great outcomes. And I'm just excited for the future of education. I think more and more classrooms are using evidence-based pedagogical techniques. So that's great. So programming is really problem solving using the computer as a tool. And so the tool of the programmer is really the computer. And just as a painter, or a painter uses a paintbrush and paint, and a carpenter uses a saw and other, their tools, a programmer uses a computer as a tool, and I think that's the most powerful tool we have. So I'm excited to be in the place I am. That's the high level of programming. And there was some other note I took, but I'm losing that one. But anyway, learning objectives. Let's talk learning objectives with this course. The first learning objective is to develop some basic skills in software development, the software development process, which is really programming, entry level programming and coding. Then we talk about data structures. So what type of data can we store? What type of data can we use in our programs? We're using Python in this course. The third learning objective is really about more about processing that data, especially I think it was loops and not functions, conditionals and loops, but I'm forgetting the term, control structures. So correct basic use and understanding of control structures, yeah. It goes software development process, then data structures, then control structures. Fourth learning objective then is going to be functions, a correct use and understanding of functions, as well as some other concept. Functions, maybe it is just functions. Functions are really reusable lines of code, reusable programs, mini programs, reusable lines of code, we'll say that. And then the fifth learning objective is going to be when you're using linear collections of data, when you're dealing with tons of data, essentially. The data structure is more about the how to store data, what kind of data can you use, but linear collections is the last learning objective, and it's kind of sequential, it seems. So this will be what we cover last, is linear collections. So dealing with tons of data, how do you manage tons of data, which is really cool because I've been studying linear algebra. I'm guarantee linear collections has to do with linear algebra. It's the matrices of just tons of data, right? The arrays of numbers, the arrays of data. So yeah, what I'll do now is I'll go ahead. Whoa, that's bright. Dang, that sucks. Let's put it over here. What I'll do now is grab my notebook. Actually, I don't have a notebook. I just have a folder of paper. But one more thing is the pedagogical technique. And I didn't take any notes on that, but I'll just talk about it before I look at the notes. The pedagogical technique of this class is really pure instruction, which means there's going to be a little bit of the time at the beginning of class summarizing, going over some of the points that we were supposed to read about. Like, we're doing the reading and prep outside of class, reading and problems outside of class. And then we come to class and it is basically a short summary, and then we get into these kind of like multiple choice questions. And these multiple choice questions are you're not exactly told if you get them right or wrong initially. And so if less than 30% of the class gets, the teacher sees it who got right or wrong, like the percentage. If less than 30% of the class gets the answer correct, 1 in 4, the multiple choice, 30% or less get the answer correct, or less than 30%, then the professor will basically teach that concept right then and there, because obviously most people are not understanding it. And then the question will be re-asked. If the I almost just saw somebody get in a car accident. If 30 to 80% of the students get the answer correct, then we break into a small group with the people around us and discuss what we got, what I got, what the other person got, why they think they got what they got. And we try to just talk it out and figure out what the right answer is. And then we'll get the question again. And then once 80% of the class gets it right, or if 80% of the class gets it right or more initially, then basically there's not much. You just go to the next question, essentially. He might just highlight a key point or something. Yeah. These are supposed to be kind of difficult multiple choice questions, like edge cases that often cause common confusions and stuff like that in the class. So yeah, I'm excited for that type of pedagogical technique. We have lab, which are known as recitation. So I'm going to have to get a lab time. That's an hour and a half. So yeah, that'll be interesting. I don't know why, but my major still said neuroscience. So I was the only neuroscience major in there. He had like on the screen, like, what major are the people, and I'm the neuroscience major. There was only 2 people that are artificial intelligence, so I'll be the third. I mean, I told my administrator or whoever, my academic counselor, to switch me last time I had a counseling meeting, and they said they would switch it over. I got an email, I thought, but I'm still a neuroscience major, I guess. But yeah, let's check these. Gosh, I'm hungry. Time to get some Chipotle on the way back. Oh, data types, not data structures. Data types, control structures. Functions and parameters. Parameters is what I forgot. And then, yep, linear collections data. So everything else, yeah, pretty solid. And yeah, that's it for today, or for now. And I'll probably be studying more later, see if the textbook is open, see what I can do, reschedule a meeting with my professor just to get to know him a little bit, and that's it for now, so I'll talk to you later. All right, welcome back to computer science. I'm back later in the day. Ignore the little humming. There's chemicals in my apartment. I was working with some chemicals, so I need the air purifier running while I make these videos. But let's keep going. What I'm gonna do now is basically reschedule my meeting with my professor, which he had to cancel because he hadn't updated his time he was available from last semester. And then from there, I'll kind of scan through, see what else is on Canvas. Yeah, so let's see what I find. All right, just read a little bit about the AI policy in the course. I've already learned that a lot from the lecture, from the syllabus, and now this again, and probably I read about it in the Unit 0, so I'm not going to recall anything from that. A little bit about the recitations, which is the lab. I learned our IDE, Integrated Development Environment. Is that, maybe that's what it stands for, is Thani. So we'll be learning more about that. I looked at the textbook, the lecture 1 or lecture 0, whatever one I just was in. Basically just an overview, and it had like an 85-minute video, which was basically the exact lecture that I had today. It's just for like the people that are online students, because this class is very integrated with online and offline, or in person, that is. So yeah, nothing really else to say. That's it for today. Talk to you guys later. See ya.